Her best friend said, "We're going to test if Owen really loves Paige by staging a breakup." When she delivered the scripted lines, I said, "Finally, someone said it." Then pulled out screenshots of her 3-month affair with gym timestamps. So my girlfriend said, "We need to talk about us last night." And I just smiled and said, "Finally, I can stop pretending I don't know about you and Mike." The look on her face was worth every sleepless night I've spent the last 2 months figuring this shit out. I'm Owen, 32M, network security analyst here in Seattle. My girlfriend Paige, 29F, and I have been together for 2.5 years. She works marketing at some boutique agency downtown. Up until about 4 months ago, things were solid. We weren't living together but had been talking about it seriously. Then everything changed. It started small. Phone face down during dinner, new perfume, girls' nights, that ran way later than usual. Being in cybersecurity, I noticed patterns. The biggest red flag was her suddenly being super interested in my work schedule, asking when I'd be working late, when I had weekend calls, like she was planning around my availability. I didn't want to be that paranoid boyfriend, so I gave her space. But my gut kept screaming something was wrong. Then I overheard a conversation that changed everything. 3 weeks ago, I'm grabbing coffee near my office when I hear familiar voices at the table behind me. It's Vega, Paige's best friend, talking to another girl I recognize from their friend group. They're planning some kind of test for Paige and me. Vega's saying, Paige needs to know if Owen really loves her. We're going to stage a breakup intervention, have her tell him it's over, see how hard he fights for her. If he just accepts it and walks away, he's not the one. I almost choked on my latte. They're literally planning to fake break us up to test my devotion. But here's the thing, while they're planning their little loyalty test, I've been documenting a very real affair. See, that unknown number showing up on our shared phone plan? Mike Kendrick. I went to college with this guy. Real estate broker, drives a silver BMW, total douche, but somehow successful with women. I did some digging, legally, just social media and public records, and let me tell you, the timeline is crystal clear. Mike's been tagged at the same bars as Paige's girls' nights 4 times in the last 6 weeks. Same gym, same lunch spots. Her fitness tracker, that she shares with me for couple goals, shows she's been at his apartment complex twice a week since September. The address matches his LinkedIn. So while Vega thinks she's orchestrating some romantic movie moment to test my commitment, I'm sitting here with evidence of a months-long affair. The irony is killing me. My brother Jordan keeps telling me to just confront Paige directly. Bro, just show her the evidence and be done with it. But something about knowing their little test is coming makes me want to let it play out. They want to see how much I'll fight for her. They're about to find out exactly how much I know. The intervention is supposed to happen tomorrow night at Paige's place. Vega and the friend group will be there for support. They think they're going to watch me beg and plead for a relationship that's been dead since August. Instead, they're going to find out that the guy they thought was oblivious has been gathering screenshots of Mike's Instagram stories, correlating gym check-ins, and tracking phone patterns like it's a security audit. I keep going back and forth on this. Part of me just wants to pack up my stuff from her place quietly and disappear, let them have their test with nobody to test. But the bigger part of me, the part that's been watching my girlfriend lie to my face for 3 months while her friends plan to manipulate my emotions, wants to see their faces when I flip this script. Do I ruin their test by walking in with printouts of Mike's social media? Do I let them do their fake breakup and respond with the real affair evidence? Or do I just leave quietly and let them figure out eventually that their perfect couple was a lie? The meeting's tomorrow at 7 p.m. I've got about 20 hours to decide how this plays out. Update 1. So I show up at Paige's apartment Thursday night at 7 p.m. like nothing's wrong. The whole gang's there. Vega, 2 other friends I recognize from Instagram, and some girl I've never met before. They've got this whole staged intervention vibe going. Tissues on the coffee table, serious expressions, the works. Paige looks nervous as hell, keeps glancing at Vega like she's waiting for a cue. I'm sitting there thinking, these people have no idea what's coming. Paige starts with this rehearsed speech. Owen, I've been thinking a lot about us lately. I don't think we're right for each other anymore. This relationship isn't working. I think we should break up. The room goes dead silent. Everyone's staring at me, waiting for me to fall apart, to beg, to fight for her. Vega's got this expectant look like she's watching her favorite romantic movie. Instead, I just lean back and say, "Oh, thank God. I've been trying to figure out how to say this for weeks. I'm actually relieved. Finally, I can stop pretending I don't know about you and Mike." The silence that followed was fucking beautiful. Paige's face went completely white, like, genuinely pale. She just stared at me for what felt like 10 full seconds without blinking. Vega starts to say, "Wait, what are you?" but then stops because she's starting to realize this isn't going according to script. I stayed calm, almost friendly. "Mike Kendrick? Real estate guy? You've been seeing him since, what, August? September? The timeline's a bit fuzzy, but the phone records aren't." That's when everything exploded. Paige immediately goes into denial mode. "That's insane. What are you talking about?" But her voice is shaking and she won't make eye contact. Vega's trying to regain control. "This was supposed to be about your commitment issues. You're deflecting." The other friends are just sitting there looking mortified. One of them, I think her name's Lily, quietly says, "Oh my God," under her breath. I pull out my phone and start scrolling through screenshots I'd prepared. Mike's Instagram story from last Tuesday night. A mirror selfie at some wine bar. In the background, you can clearly see Paige at a table with another girl. Posted at 9:47 p.m. Paige had told me she was at book club that night. "I've got about 3 weeks worth of this stuff," I said, showing them the phone. Gym check-ins at his CrossFit place, restaurant tags, his car in the parking lot of your girls' night spots. "I work in cybersecurity, guys. This is literally what I do for a living." Paige tries a different tactic. "You went through my phone? Didn't have to. Shared phone plan, remember? Plus, Mike's not exactly subtle with his social media." I scroll to another screenshot. "Also, your fitness tracker shows you at his apartment complex twice a week since September. 1247 Pine Street, right? That's his address." The room is completely silent now except for Paige starting to cry. But they're angry tears, not sad ones. Vega's getting defensive. "So you were spying on her instead of trying to work on your relationship?" I was trying to figure out why my girlfriend suddenly needed to find herself, right around the time she started texting another guy 200 times a week. I put my phone away. "Look, I'm not here to make this uglier than it needs to be. You wanted to test whether I'd fight for this relationship. The answer is no. I won't fight for something that's been over since summer." Paige finally finds her voice. "You don't understand. I understand perfectly. You wanted out but didn't want to be the bad guy. So you started something with Mike and waited for me to figure it out or for your friends to help you manufacture a reason." I stand up. "The test thing was just convenient timing." I headed for the door. "Paige, I'll Venmo you for my half of the Denver trip deposit. We can handle the rest through text. Ladies, good luck with your next test." As I'm walking out, I hear Vega saying, "This isn't how this was supposed to go," and one of the other friends telling her to shut up. "Been staying at Jordan's since Thursday night. He's been giving me shit for not saying more during the confrontation. But honestly, what was there to say? The evidence spoke for itself. Paige has sent 47 text messages since Thursday night. They range from, 'We need to talk,' to 'You're being cruel,' to 'I can explain everything,' to 'You never trusted me anyway.' I haven't responded to any of them. The crazy part? I feel lighter. Like I've been carrying this weight for months without realizing it. All that paranoia, all those nights lying awake wondering if I was losing my mind. It's gone. I wasn't paranoid. I was right." Update 2. You guys are not going to believe this. I thought the drama was over after the whole test affair reveal situation. I was wrong. It got so much weirder. Paige has been in full damage control mode all week. The text messages haven't stopped. She's cycling through every stage of grief hourly. Denial, anger, bargaining, the works. I've been ignoring all of it, but she escalated yesterday. She showed up at my apartment building at 6 a.m. yesterday morning. 6 a.m. I heard her in the hallway outside my door, crying and asking me to, please just talk to her for 5 minutes. I didn't open the door. Told her through the door that we were done and there was nothing to explain. She kept saying, you don't understand what really happened, and, if you'd just let me explain the timeline. Like the timeline was the problem here. But here's where it gets absolutely fucking insane. Tuesday afternoon, I get a LinkedIn message from Mike freaking Kendrick. Hey man, heard through the grapevine that you and Paige broke up. No hard feelings, right? Want to grab a beer this week so I can explain my side of things? I think there might be some confusion about the timeline. I stared at this message for like 10 minutes. The balls on this guy. He wants to explain his side of sleeping with my girlfriend? Jordan convinced me to meet him. Bro, you need to hear this. If he's reaching out, there's something he wants to tell you. Probably trying to cover his ass, but you should know what he's saying. So yesterday I meet Mike at this coffee shop in Capitol Hill. Jordan came with me but sat at a different table, just in case things got weird. Mike shows up in his usual douche uniform, designer jeans, too tight polo, hair that probably took 20 minutes to style. He sits down and immediately goes, "Look, Owen, I want to be upfront with you about everything." I'm thinking, okay, here comes the apology or the excuse or whatever. Instead, this motherfucker says, "I know this is awkward, but I genuinely thought you two were basically over. Paige told me you guys were more like roommates than a couple for the past few months. She said you were emotionally unavailable and that you'd both been talking about seeing other people." I just stared at him. What? She said you guys were in this weird liminal space where you hadn't officially broken up but weren't really together anymore. That's why I didn't feel bad about, I thought you were already seeing someone else too. This is when I realized Mike had no fucking clue what was actually happening. He genuinely believed Paige's version of events. In his mind, he wasn't the other man. He was the new boyfriend after an essentially already ended relationship. I let him keep talking. And Jesus Christ, the things this guy revealed. Apparently, Paige told him that I was distant and checked out since last spring. That we rarely had sex anymore. Lie. That I was probably already talking to someone from work. Bigger lie. She painted this picture of a relationship that was dead in all but name. She said you two were basically just splitting bills at this point, Mike continues. That's why when she asked me out in July, I said yes. I mean, if you were both already mentally done. July. She asked him out in July, 2 months earlier than I thought this started. Mike, I said carefully, did Paige ever mention that we were talking about moving in together as recently as June? Or that we booked a trip to Denver together in August? His face changed. What? We had dinner reservations this past weekend. I bought her concert tickets for next month. We were looking at apartments. The color drained from his face. She told me you guys hadn't been on a real date in months. I pulled out my phone and showed him photos from our hiking trip 3 weeks ago. Her Instagram post about our weekend getaway. Our shared grocery lists and weekend plans. Mike went completely silent for about 30 seconds. Then, that freaking liar. Turns out Mike thought he was dating a newly single woman who'd just gotten out of a dead relationship. He had no idea he was the affair partner in an active, committed relationship. Paige had been playing both of us. Jesus Christ, he said. Owen, I'm sorry. I would never have, if I'd known you two were still actually together. Here's the kicker. Mike thought the reason Paige was being secretive about their relationship was because she was taking it slow after a bad breakup. He thought the sneaking around was her being cautious about introducing him to friends and family too soon. She kept saying she wasn't ready to go public yet, Mike said. I thought she meant because she was still getting over you. I didn't know she was fucking lying to everyone. We talked for another hour. Mike told me everything. How they met at her gym. How she approached him. How she'd been complaining about her ex, me, for weeks before asking him out. In her version of events, I was this cold, unavailable boyfriend who'd already emotionally checked out of the relationship months ago. The meeting ended with Mike looking completely defeated. I need to call her, he said. This is fucked up. Good luck with that, I told him. I got in my car and immediately texted Paige. Your boyfriend thought we should have a beer to discuss the timeline. Interesting conversation. Turns out you told him we broke up months ago. Anyway, lose my number. Then I screenshot Mike's original LinkedIn message and sent it to her with, just so we're clear on who reached out to who. My phone exploded within minutes. Paige called me 6 times in a row. When I didn't answer, the text started, "That's not what I told him. You're twisting everything. I can explain. Mike is lying. You ruined everything. I loved you and you threw it away. This is all your fault. And my personal favorite, you never fought for us. I turned my phone off and went to Jordan's gym, spent 2 hours hitting the heavy bag, thinking about how Paige had been playing both Mike and me for months, making me feel paranoid and suspicious while making him feel like the good guy rescuing her from a bad relationship. This morning I found out through mutual friends that Mike blocked Paige on everything after their conversation yesterday. Apparently, she tried calling him to explain her side, and he told her to lose his number too. So now she's lost both of us. And her friends are starting to distance themselves because word is getting out about what really happened during their little loyalty test. Vega sent me a long text yesterday apologizing for the test thing and saying she had no idea about any of the other stuff. I didn't respond. Final update, time for probably my last update on this saga, since a few people have been asking how things turned out long term. It's been 6 months since the loyalty test disaster, and I figured I'd close the loop on the aftermath. Some of you predicted how this would play out, and you were surprisingly accurate. First off, I'm good, really good actually. Moved to a better apartment in Fremont, got promoted at work, turns out not being distracted by relationship drama helps your focus, and started rock climbing. 3 days a week at the climbing gym, weekends out at actual mountains when weather permits. It's weirdly meditative. Jordan's been giving me shit about becoming a mountain man, but honestly, there's something about being 300 feet up a cliff face that puts everything in perspective. All that relationship drama feels pretty small when you're focused on not falling to your death. As for Paige, well, karma's been busy. Through mutual friends, I found out she lost her job about 2 months after everything went down. Apparently, the drama affected her work when word got around her company, and Vega works at an agency that partners with Paige's company sometimes. Small marketing world in Seattle. Paige ended up moving back to Spokane to live with her parents. Mike blocked her completely after our coffee meeting and hasn't looked back. I ran into him at a Mariners game last month. He was with some new girl who looked genuinely happy to be there. We nodded at each other from across the beer line. No hard feelings between us anymore. We were both victims of the same lie. The friend group dynamics have been interesting to watch from the outside. Vega sent me this long email about 3 months ago, apologizing for the loyalty test and admitting it was toxic friend behavior. She said she enabled Paige and felt terrible about the whole thing. I read it but didn't respond. Nothing to say really. Vega and Paige aren't friends anymore, from what I hear. They had some huge falling out where Paige blamed Vega for ruining everything because the test exposed the affair. Like somehow it was Vega's fault that Paige was cheating. The logic is amazing. The best part? I've started dating again. Nothing serious yet. Went out with this woman Lily, different Lily, not from the friend group, for about 2 months, but we both realized we weren't quite ready for anything heavy. Ended it mutually, stayed friends. She's actually the one who got me into climbing. Went on a few other dates through apps and friends. It's wild how different dating feels when you're not constantly wondering if someone's lying to you. I still carry some trust issues, probably will for a while, but I'm not letting that stop me from meeting people. Here's what I learned from all this. The loyalty test was never the real problem. It was a symptom. Paige needed her friends to validate ending things because she knew she was wrong. When you need to test someone's loyalty, you've already failed your own. Also, trusting your gut isn't paranoia. I spent months thinking I was going crazy, gaslighting myself into thinking the signs I was seeing weren't real. They were real. They were always real. Someone asked in one of the earlier threads if I regret not just leaving quietly when I first suspected something. Honestly? No. She wanted drama. Her friends wanted a show. I just made sure it was honest drama for once. 3 weeks ago, Paige sent me a friend request on Instagram. I declined it. Same day, she messaged me through Facebook. I hope you're happy now. I almost responded with a climbing photo and I am, thanks, but Jordan talked me out of it. Don't feed the crazy, he said. Smart brother. Oh, and I'm seeing someone new. Met her at the climbing gym. She's a nurse at Swedish Medical and has the most genuine smile I've ever seen. We've been on 4 dates, and she actually seems excited to spend time with me. Novel concept, right? It's early days, But there's something refreshing about being with someone who chooses you clearly and directly instead of making you guess where you stand. Court date for the stuff we had to split up, lease, car insurance, etc., is next month, but our lawyers handled most of it already. Clean break finally. To everyone who encouraged me to expose the truth instead of walking away quietly, thank you. It was the right call. To those who said I should have fought harder for the relationship, I get it, but you can't fight for someone who's already fighting against you. Edit. Jordan wants me to thank Reddit for encouraging the petty king energy. He's still disappointed I didn't say more during the original confrontation. Brothers, man. Final edit. To everyone asking about the new girl, her name's Emma. She thinks the whole loyalty test story is insane. And yes, we went climbing together last weekend. She's better at it than me, which is both impressive and mildly threatening to my ego. I like her. Peace, Reddit. Thanks for letting me vent here 6 months ago.